Welcome back, everybody, to another Brews Roundtable podcast. A couple familiar faces and one new one, and it's not a, it's not a round table. It's well, what did I? Oh, it's not the panel. I forgot what I called this, but we do have Todd, we got George, and we've got their missing member of the world famous Lost in Transit from Springfield, Massachusetts. We got Dustin, the guitar player. Welcome, everybody, to the Brews Roundtable podcast. Glad to have you here.
Yay!
Thank you, Cal.
Thanks.
Yeah. So, first off, most importantly, what are we drinking today? I guess we'll start with Dustin. We'll go around the circle.
I've got a Ghirardelli hot chocolate. I'm just really loving the richness of it. I'm just kidding. I'm drinking a Rustic Brewing Company Tropical Lucid Dream. It's a 5.1% fruited sour. It's in a yellow can. And can you come back around so I can tell you what it tastes like?
Sure. What you got, Todd?
I have a double dry hopped double IPA. It's a 8.3% from Four Otis Brothers. I believe that's how you pronounce it. I haven't heard of these guys before. Somebody was nice enough to bring it by and giving it a try, and it's really enjoyable.
Sick. All right, George, what's your heavy hitter that you're telling us all about? Oh, it's the best sound in the world.
Well, I got the double dry hopped 4-point pale ale from Trillium.
Oof.
Canned on 10/19.
Oh my goodness.
On 10/29, 10 days ago.
Talk about fresh, man. That's awesome. Sick. So I have one of a local favorite of mine. It's from Northway Brewing. It's like northern New York, near Lake George, Queensbury. Shout out to them. They every year they do an apple pie ale right around this time.
Looks good.
So it's a favorite of mine. It's super sweet. It's got like tons of cinnamon and nutmeg in there. A little bit of like almost like an apple cidery kind of taste. But obviously,
that's all. Yeah, that's awesome. Apple cidery taste.
Apple cidery taste. Yep.
No,
Exactly.
like a legit, apple cider, not just apple juice.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
With the nutmeg, that makes it good.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. So this is a favorite of mine for this time of year. When I first, because the reason we're doing a Lost in Transit special today is me and Todd were planning on doing a panel, but the rest of the guys decided they couldn't make it this time. So I took the opportunity to get the guys together. George is getting fancy. I'm like recording the video. I should really put this on YouTube because.
Oh yeah.
Oh man.
Oh, you are?
Yeah.
This is live? Oh no.
No, it's not live,
right.
but like when I record over Zoom, so it records the audio and the video. So I usually just take the audio, but I mean I technically could take the video and show all your beautiful faces.
So I shouldn't.
You got
So I shouldn't stand up.
Yeah.
I shouldn't stand up.
I mean, it depends what you got down there, Dustin, but sure. So, all right. So I'll let you guys kind of sip on your beers, and we're gonna listen to a song by Lost in Transit. If I can do it here. Okay, here we go. First song. This is when
was this recorded?
2019. I'm doing Wolf. I'm gonna play Wolf first. So
Okay.
This is their newest release song on Bandcamp. Everybody go check it out after this. And here we go. All right. Sick, guys. So I really do have to put this on YouTube now because
That took a lot out of me.
well,
flip there.
oh man. So lost in transit, everybody. So tell me guys what the writing process is for you guys, because I know I haven't played with you guys a couple times, kind of talked about it. I know sometimes Dustin is the one that comes up with kind of the idea and you guys expound off of that. Tell me how that goes.
Yeah, it's been Dustin will come up with an idea or a backbone to a song, and then we try to figure it out and go from there.
Yeah, a lot of times I'll come up with just some ideas musically, and I'll try and incorporate some vocal ideas that I have with that. Is there an echo?
Yeah. Yeah. It's from you and Todd. Oh, that's too good.
So
Sorry.
I'm gonna go.
Oh man, sorry.
Hallway just to make this easier. So, yeah, pretty much, with the exception of maybe one or two songs, a lot of them are ideas that I'll mess around with by myself, and then I'll put vocals to them, and then I'll bring them to the space to practice, and then we all sort of put our own personality into it, you know, whether they suggest different changes vocally or musically. That's sort of how every single one of our songs have molded into what they are.
Sick.
Everybody's personality gets to have an influence on it.
There was one song where I think it's Breathe. I had come up with something. I'm like, that actually, I think we could use that for Lost in Transit. So I brought it to the group and everyone liked it. So then I let Dustin take it, and then he made it into the Lost in Transit sound. So it was like, I honestly don't even know what I was playing or remember how to play what I was playing, but it morphed into that Breathe song.
Yeah, that was the song. There might have been a few other ones where George and Todd had influence on the musical side of it. But the song Breathe, George had a huge play in the musical side of that. He basically like laid out 3 or 4 different riffs and said, these are a bunch of ideas that I've had that kind of go together. So we messed around with them one night, and then I went home, and then maybe the next week we kind of put it together. I put down some words to it, and it all just like came together from there. So that's sort of how we write our songs, is together.
Yeah, that's awesome. So tell me about Wolf. Like, what was the idea behind that one?
Well, do you mean like,
I guess like how it came together?
vocally?
Yeah, vocally, how it came together. If like, I know some people don't want to really talk about what it's about or anything like that. So I mean, you know, if you don't, but
I'll say on my end, when I specifically, I think when I heard it, I wanted like a punchy Police type like Sting bass, like Roxanne bass, and like da. And so that ended up like that was the perfect way to do that in that song. So that's where my bass line comes from, that punchy Roxanne sound.
It's funny, I never would have thought that, but now like that you said that, I can hear it, and it works.
Roxanne, like the whole way. That's where,
it works 100% for sure.
And then I just moved 2 frets down, so I wasn't copying Sting.
Yeah.
As far as the vocals go, like the sort of the theme of the song, I know what a lot of people do is when their writing style, they kind of make it vague so that it can have a meaning for each individual who listens to it. You know, whatever place they are in life, they can apply this song to whatever they're dealing with or whatever they're feeling. So that's how I try to write my songs. Well, not my songs, but that's when I write the vocals, that's how I try to, that's my style of writing. I don't want to be too specific, but if we're asking, the song Wolf is sort of about being treated unjust. When you're doing the right thing and then you're treated unjustly, sort of how you react to that. So that's why, you know, there's lines in there like, now I can't even think of the
It's all
lines
good.
of the song, but something about an iron fist. You know,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna succumb to your iron fist. You can try and press me down as much as you want, but I know that what I'm doing is right. So that's sort of like the theme of that song and where it came from.
Great. Yeah. Great theme. Great message. And that seems to be like, definitely, like, lyrically, your songs have different themes for sure. But like you were saying, I like it when bands let it, like, they'll expound a little bit on what they're talking about, just so people can relate to it, but people can take it any way they want and apply it, like you said, apply it to their own lives. And I really enjoy that, because it can have a place for each person, but in a different way.
Yeah. I found that some songs I like where I'm like, this feels like this, but the words are very different, or not even in that sense. So it's you can interpret it in different ways.
Yeah, for sure. It's the great. Yeah, that's what I really like about that style, for sure. So I'll jump over to Todd here. I know sometimes, like, with drumming, it's not so much about the songwriting. Well, I mean, it's still a big part of it, but there's not, like, you know what I mean. But Todd, you've got a very, like, specific style. Especially, like, when you see Lost in Transit live, there's a lot of, like, heel toe kick patterns, like, interesting fills. Talk to me about your drumming, like, your background on that, and how you feel it fits in the Lost in Transit. How that kind of, how you apply your drumming to make it fit that style, the Lost in Transit style.
That's a lot of times. Usually, it's I'm like stealing something from somebody that I've been listening to. It's another drummer that's, you know, did something really cool in a song that I'm currently listening to, and like, oh, I got to figure out how to do that. Then I figure that out, and then Dustin shows up with a song, and I'm like, well, I'm just gonna.
Oh, there he goes. Oh man,
He's out of the band.
Yeah, just with that comment, he's kicked out.
We don't
Yeah.
feeling very gone.
Oh man.
Yeah. New drummers. Sorry.
Yeah, Lost in Transit is now auditioning for new drummers after that comment. You know, if you play drums. No.
Don't stand for that.
Yeah.
I think I'm back. Am I back?
Yeah, you're back. You're back.
You're back.
Okay.
So
All
can
right,
you repeat
gotcha.
what you said?
So wherever I left off, I just do basically stick something in that I want in there, whether Dustin likes it or not. And sometimes I make him change the song so that his song works around what I felt like playing. So
That is true.
it's very true. A lot of times, only one time did he say, "Hey, you know that thing you just did there?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he goes, "Don't ever do that again." But yeah, no. So I've played off and on since I was a kid. Basically, I started off on drums, and then I moved to playing guitar for a while, for a lot of years, and didn't really play drums very much. And then kind of when the situation came around with Dustin and so forth, I kind of got back into it, and have just been like really enjoying that, and haven't really done much of anything else musically other than just focus on drums. And being the drummer for Lost in Transit. So, and it's been a lot of fun, and these guys are great to kind of work with, and it's just it's really creative because whenever we're bringing something to the table, it's always about exploring ideas. And if people have thoughts on different things, we try them out, we experiment with it. Sometimes it doesn't work and you scrap it, but everybody's willing to try it and give it their all, and see if they can figure out how to make that idea work. And usually it's just like a really natural thing that we just kind of all come to the conclusion that, hey, that's just not working, we should do something different. Or that's while the thought was good, it just isn't going to work out, things like that. So it's like really a great environment for the creative side, because even though not everything always works out, you're still excited to bring more ideas to the table and more thoughts and stuff, because you always know that everybody's on board for trying things and giving it a good, honest effort.
Awesome, man. Yeah, so it kind of adds to what the other guys were saying. It's definitely a team effort, and you take one piece out of the puzzle, it's not lost in transit for sure. And I enjoy that about you guys for sure.
I think along with that, I found that we're all pretty open to ideas. We don't have egos where we kind of get butthurt if somebody says something about our idea that. So we explore all options, and to me, I'm always trying to think of like, how can I make this idea sound good, or better in a way. So it's like you kind of play off of each other in that sense, and like in a team sport, like it's good to make that game-winning shot, but sometimes just passing it for the assist for someone else to hit the shot, it's just as fulfilling. So it's sometimes you have ideas that work and others that don't, but the final product shows.
Oh yeah, 100%, man. I've
like
seen
the way
that.
you put that.
Yeah, I've seen that a lot in just my band too, because if you easily get hurt by someone saying, oh, like if Jonas told me something sounded like crap and I was like, oh, you hurt my feelings or whatever, it's like the band just wouldn't work. It's like the band the guys in the band end up being some of your closest friends, and so you gotta have that relationship where you can't be like you said, butthurt about, oh, that idea doesn't work, because it's gonna, if you tiptoe around people and just when it comes to that and be like, oh, even if it sounds like garbage and you're like, oh, well, we're just gonna deal with it, it's gonna make the band worse, it's gonna make tensions high, and that's how bands end up breaking up for sure.
Mm-hmm. In reality, from my end, I mean, just my opinion, if there was something about one of George's bass lines that he didn't like to play, or if I told him this is what I want to hear over this guitar part, and he just said, all right, fine, but he hated playing it every time. You always hear about these bands who years later they're like, I hated playing this song. Every time we played it, it was the worst. But they had to play it over and over again.
Yeah.
I never want to feel like that about any of the songs that we play together. I mean, there are some of the songs George and Todd they can attest to it. I tell them, like, that's one of my least favorite songs to play, even though, like, I wrote the lyrics and the guitar parts, and they built the rest of the song around that. Sometimes there's songs of my own that I don't like playing, but I wrote them for a reason, and it's not like somebody else is forcing me to play it. But that's one of the good things about how we write our songs, is that I don't ever really come to the table and say, Todd, this is what I want to hear from you, And George, this is what I want to hear from you. And this is what I'm going to play. That's not how we do
my
things.
kitchen. These are my dishes. This is what you're eating.
Right.
Yeah, but at the same time, we all want to hear what the other person had in mind or things that they're envisioning. I mean, especially for me as a drummer, it's like, there's, when you're in a particular style, you can branch out in, different directions and things like that to a degree, but the style is the style. And, there's only so much that you can play. So many different patterns, so many different things. I mean, you're not going to put, a bossa nova beat underneath, a rock song. I mean, maybe somebody successfully has done that before for, a measure or two or something like that. But, for the most part, it's like
what that means.
you're working within a you're working within a certain framework, So it's also really cool to, hear like, hey, when you were, coming up with the structure of this song, did you have like, something in mind from a drum perspective, or a song that you heard that you were like, oh man, those drums will go well underneath that, because it at least gives me a good starting point and a foundation. And sometimes it might not have been the thing that I was thinking, but it actually becomes really fun to play, because it's, it helps me not to fall into just sort of the same repetitive patterns of, kind of putting the same things in the same spots for the, songs. And, you're trying to come up with different stuff and keep it fresh and creative for, but as you get into more and more and more and more songs, it becomes more and more challenging at least for me, from a drumming perspective, to come up with different ways and different ideas and things. So it's always cool to get the input from the other guys of like, oh, did you have a thought, or did you have a feel in mind? Or, I mean, even on Breathe, I think, George, you had mentioned a certain feel that, you thought would be good, for the drums. And it worked perfect. And that's kind of what I play today. But, it's fun to kind of to get that and just know that, what you're doing behind what they are doing is, they like it too, and it's, they had some input in it as well.
Yeah, I think the neat thing about it is how sometimes we try something very different from the final result, and there are times we have to like kind of pick which one we like better or how we're gonna play it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
for
true.
Sure.
Yeah.
There's with any band, it's a big process with that. And it's like the song starts as one thing, and then it transforms. At the end result is like, you would never have guessed that they were the same songs. You could almost do two separate songs with it sometimes. But we'll move back into beer a little bit, because we never came around back to Dustin to see how he liked well, he's on the spot now because Todd's he's got a rustic brew. Just kidding. Yeah, there he goes. But oh, there it is.
Well, it tastes like a remembering our roots and perpetually growing upon them.
Reading from the can.
Actually, I will say that I like how it has a bit of a body to it, and it's very fruity, as I would hope it would be, because that's what it advertises to be. But it's not like.
What was that one again?
It's the Tropical Lucid Dream.
Oh, okay.
The fruited sour.
Nice.
5.1%. Easy to drink. It's not too sour, but it brings the fruit to the table, and it's not like super full of lactose like some that you might have.
Does it have lactose in it?
But it's I don't know.
Oh, Todd, did that have lactose in it?
I'll email let me email the company.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does. We
Okay.
do a little bit of lactose in our sours, especially our heavily fruited sours, to bring a little bit of additional sweetness in, just a touch, and a little bit more kind of body and creaminess to it as well. They're kind of like the New Park blender or the Burley Oak sours. Not so far to not as much as say like a 450 North slushy.
Right.
Those are
Those are
way
crazy.
over the top. But with and I'm not saying they're over the top with lactose. Just they're over the top with just
It,
all ingredients under
yeah,
the sun. But
in general,
yeah,
in general.
um,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. But yeah, that one was a beer that we put together with one of the guys that helps us on our canning line. It was his anniversary at the beginning of this month, and he wanted to do a beer for his wife, and she really likes sours. So we were like, okay, well, we've got a few sours that we've done already, and he's like, yeah, but you guys haven't. We started talking about, well, what fruits haven't we done that your wife would like, that we haven't done before, so we can kind of make it a new sour. And so we agreed on mango, pineapple, mango, and passion fruit. So we fruited it with those three fruits, and uh, yeah, and not I forgot, we hopped it with Sabro hops, which
Oh,
a lot of people get coconut notes
yeah.
off of the
Right.
Sabro hops. So just we didn't want to have it have coconut per se, but we wanted to use the hops to bring a slight note, or maybe just something in there that you're kind of like, there's something else there and I'm not sure what it is. And then if somebody says coconut, you're like, oh yeah, that a touch of coconut. So yeah, so that's how it came together. And it was a success. His wife really liked it, so everything worked out good.
It's like a penis colada.
Yeah.
Oh man.
15-second lag.
Yeah, no, there's no more 15-second lag to Oh man, good thing this isn't live. No, that's all good. We're all 21 here, so, and over. But
Uh-huh.
George, talk to me about Trillium, because like a lot of people say they're overhyped, but I feel like people just say that because they're big.
So I don't actually drink a lot of Trillium. So when I do have a can from them, it's kind of special for me. So I really don't know Trillium at all, but they're like one of the top brewers in Massachusetts as far as the New England style IPA. So they're, like, I can see why a lot of people might say they're overhyped a bit, but so this is the double dry hopped 4-point pale ale. A lot of their beers are references to Boston and where they're from. So I think so sometimes you'll see the street names or things like that. But I honestly, I'm realizing when I grab this that I'm like, I think I accidentally bought this, or I meant to buy something else. And I ordered it online and picked it up
Oh, gotcha.
because I was looking for another beer, and then I noticed, I'm like, oh, I didn't pick that up. But so I'll have to look at my receipt later. But anyways, this was a pale ale. It doesn't taste like your typical pale ale. 6.6%. So it's very, the New England style IPA vibe. It's like that hoppiness. You got that dry finish to it. If you like hoppy beers, they're definitely one of the top brewers to check out. So, but some people are sick of that style, so you can see why maybe they may say they're overhyped a bit, but their stouts are always really good.
Yeah, I
And
agree, George. Their stouts, and I also really love their single serving and double serving. Their fruited sours that they do are always really, really well done as well. So if people are looking to check out Trillium, but aren't into necessarily, like you said, George, the IPAs and the hoppy beers, like there's, like you said, their stouts are killer, and those sours, are really good as well. So if you're into those, and I think they do a pretty decent amount of barrel aged stouts as well. So if you're into those, they do a lot of that too. So they have a good variety of stuff, and all of it is, very well executed, very well done.
Yeah, it's like you can't go wrong. So if you've never had Trillium, like you should definitely check it out, especially if you're around Boston. With that being said, I do feel like their stats are awesome. I'd say my top 3 stouts I ever tried, they had an affogato stout, like a dessert stout, and they were teamed up with I think Jay Wakefield's Brewing in Florida. So it was like a limited thing. I the first time I went to Trillium, I think the only time too. So I went to the Canton location. I think I got one there. It was so good. I got 2 of them. Then we went to this old the dive bar, rest in peace, in Worcester, where they had it. So I ended up getting like 3 or 4 that night, just because it was limited. So I'm like, I'll never have this again.
Hey,
But it was so good. But they're like 10% or more. I met up with home. They had already started, so that was my first beer. So the guy, my friend, his friend who was visiting, I learned later that he was amazed that I could drink all those affogatos. So he would call me the affogato guy. I'm like, oh, sick. I had a nickname.
Nice.
Dang, man. 4 10%ers. Like I could probably do 2. And after that, it's like, no.
It was throughout the night.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Gotcha. It wasn't like back to back or
throughout the day. So when he saw me do that, he was like, oh.
Yeah, right. Oh man. That's funny.
Yeah, he broke up the 10%ers with a couple of 6%ers and some 7.5s.
Yeah, right.
Specifically break up the 10s.
I took Todd one night to the dive bar just to get that again. I remember that.
Yeah. Yep.
Hey, while we're on these stories,
they just closed down or something.
I remember one night I think we played a show somewhere, but we ended up back at the space, and we had a bunch of beers at the show, and then we had a few beers at the space because we were bringing all our gear back to the space, and George and Corey were at the space downstairs, and I remember George is like, hey, I had a lot of beers. We should probably, do you want to go up? You want to go up to the tap room and have a couple beers to cool off? so we can get home. We just go up and have a few beers to cool off. I'm like, we should probably have water to cool off. Do you remember that, George, or do you forgotto?
I mean, I do kind of remember stuff like that. There are a bunch of we've done like that though.
Oh man.
I do say like
the logic there is like trying to. I think George isn't human. Like, did they make him differently in man, Sam always messes me up because he always says you're from Cuba and you're not from Cuba. Chile, yeah.
It's got to be the southern hemisphere or something.
Yeah,
I guess so, man. My goodness.
It's the water that's coming down from Lake Titicaca.
Yeah,
in Bolivia.
It comes down, washes the Atlantic, filters through the rainforest before it hits us.
Yeah, that's got to do it.
I do say they're like I know like when we play, I always want to, you know, like sometimes we'll have some beers before we play, but I always want to be like in the right mind. But one time we played a show and a bunch of my coworkers came out to see me, and every single one of them were like, "Let me buy you a beer. Let me buy you a beer." But I'm like, I no, like you gotta stop. Yeah,
I don't want to be rude.
So that was before you went on stage?
Yeah. Because
oh man.
I think when we played Starlight the first time, we ended up getting pushed to the end as like the closer. So they were all for us to play and just kept wanting to buy me beer.
Oh man.
I like, no, that's it.
Yeah, I can't drink before I go on stage, man. It ruins me. Like I'll just hate myself afterwards if I do it. That's just me though. But anyways, I cracked open a new one. So I'm drinking Sap Hoss by Oxbow Brewing, which I feel like I've heard that name before.
Yeah, Oxbow's they were I think they do a lot of like wild fermentation stuff and farmhouse ales and Belgians and different styles there, and they're George, you know a little bit about them too, right? Are they're in Maine, correct?
Yeah, in Maine.
Newcastle, Maine.
Yeah.
I've had a few of their things. Again, different from what is kind of the rage in this area now. As far as your straight up hoppy New England IPAs,
Yeah.
but very unique, interesting, like well crafted stuff for sure.
Yeah, like this one it's a smoked lager with maple syrup. And it pours like kind of like a porter or maybe like a brown ale.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it's super sweet. It's like it's got the lagery kind of like weedy. I feel bad because Dustin is just like dead on it. He's been punished.
And
yeah, he's indicating that 1 16-ounce 5.1% sour, just knocks you out.
No. But he's like banished to the hallway so that there's no echo. That's what like.
I actually think it's just his really bad iPhone.
There we go. We'll blame it on him. But
I have I think I will say Maine's always been a special place to me throughout my life. But as an adult, like if you haven't been to Portland, Maine, to try, if you like beer, that's definitely like what destination in New England to go to.
Allagash alone, man. Just I would go to Portland just to go to Allagash.
Yep.
Yeah, there's so much out there.
Yeah.
And good food.
Yeah. I grew up, not to get like sidetracked here, but my family loves Maine. It's funny, my grandmother, they live in Keene, New Hampshire now, but before that they lived in Nashua, New Hampshire for years. Like that's where I grew up, but like grew up seeing them because they lived there for so long. Right. And she was, how like old people always want to go to Florida when they retire. She's like, I want to retire in Maine. I'm like, you do realize freezing cold in the winter in Maine. She's like, no, but every year in the summer we'd go to Boothbay Harbor. That's like our spot. And to this day, I got to take my wife there for the first time since I've been there as a kid. And it was like, oh man, it was different from when I was a kid, but going back there as an adult was like so awesome. But this beer is like super good.
It's like
it's got a bit of a lager. Obviously it's a smoked lager, but it's super sweet. It's super maple syrupy, like right from the can is said. And I don't know, it just tastes good.
Yeah. Nice. With that thought, there's so much going on up there. I'm sure the breweries are pushing the envelope further to try new things, and it's a lot of good creativity going on up there as far as the beer scene.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So Dustin disappeared. So I think we'll go ahead and play the last song. So this is off their EP from 2017. Again, Lost in Transit, Old Souls.
Oh boy.
It's just the old souls calling. It's on and you're gone and it ends in blazing further. Come on and walk on and tell him he's never on it. Oh, my skin is crawling. Tomorrow's calling, oh, my skin is crawling, oh, tomorrow's calling. Shining through the curtains, it kills like a machine. Visions of tomorrow, it's only yesterday. It's all good intentions, it's just the old souls calling. It's all good intentions, it's just the old souls calling. Oh, my skin is crawling. Oh, tomorrow's calling. Oh, my skin is crawling. Oh, tomorrow's calling. Hey, was the water wet enough? Was the air not your stuff?
Hey, that wasn't a bad song.
Man, you know what's funny is listening. I hadn't listened to those back to back, but it's just crazy to hear the difference in how you guys changed from 2017 to 2019. Even though we listened to it backwards, but like, not so much maybe the sound, just the way, I don't know. It's just something about it that's changed for the better, obviously. But yeah.
Yeah,
Cool.
we recorded both of those. We kind of recorded, mixed, and like did everything ourselves on them. So yeah, experience in getting better sounds from the get-go. Just being more rehearsed before we started the recording process. When when we were earlier on, we were just anxious to just get everything recorded and not necessarily take the time to go through and try to make sure, because we don't really do really do performance editing. We'll do multiple takes of different things, but typically all the takes are what they are. If you messed up, then you should do another take until you get
Right.
it right. But on those, I think we let some things go by that we were kind of, in hindsight, you'd be like, oh, we should have done another take, or we should have got that tightened up or cleaned up a little bit. We usually start the foundation of the song by basically playing it live to tape, and
Yeah.
then basically go in and, I'll redo drums only because of bleed a lot of times from the
Right.
other instruments. And then, then we'll add we don't really keep those initial vocals or things like that. And, then we might, add a few different things here or there. But other than that, we try to keep it, to a like real almost performance live, sound, even for our recordings. But still, yeah, I know what you're saying. There's like growth and maturity that has come over the couple years, and it's been good. It's been really it's been cool to kind of see us grow, and kind of be able to at least know that we're growing, because that's what you aim for. You kind of always aim to be getting a little bit better, your product getting better, the songwriting process getting better, just your execution getting better, kind of everything. So
yeah. I would say, like, thinking about it more, it's more like the songwriting itself is more raw. The songs had more of like a early punk rock feel to them, kind of like mix some like Ramones with some 90s kind of influence there. Like Wolf still definitely has that, but there's more layers, there's more progressiveness in the song compared to the older track.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I know for me, when I started playing with the guys, they had some songs that I had to learn, like just make up something. But when we started playing Old Souls, that became like my personal favorite one at the time, where it was very different from what we were doing. It was a lot of fun to play. So that was like the one song where I'm like, yeah, this is my favorite one.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's got kind of a cool anthem in the chorus, like the O's. It's a cool song to dance to, we'll say.
Yeah, I like that song a lot.
So similar, is that like a similar what am I trying to say here? Like a similar idea behind that song, would you say, to Wolf? Or has your songwriting kind of developed since, I don't know, like people record and write songs at completely different times, but had it kind of developed since from Old Souls to Wolf and in between and all that?
Well, the musically, obviously, we've progressed.
Yeah.
Between those eras, but the background for Old Souls is just to be, I'll explain it like I explained Wolf. It's kind of about like when I had a friend at the time who was making decisions based on, just his youth and inexperience. And Todd probably knows what we're talking about, but it's just basically a song about when you try and help somebody because they're making decisions and they're young and inexperienced, but you try and help them and they don't accept it. They feel like that, they're making the right decisions and they're going to do what they want to do. That's basically where the Old Souls theme comes in. When somebody with experience tries to help you and you don't really want it. So, and
Gotcha.
There's frustration that follows. So it makes you want to kill somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember trying to help you when you were writing that song, and it was very frustrating because you wouldn't take any of my advice.
I didn't want your advice. I knew what I was doing, okay?
I want to kill.
I'd say the difference at that point was, back then when Dustin was writing the songs, he was like trying to impress us and, show us that, he could write good songs, and now he just doesn't really care anymore. He's like,
Totally.
this song you're gonna get, you're gonna like it.
Yeah, totally.
Here's some lyrics. I'll put them on a piece of paper and I'm going to sing it.
I'm going to slap you in the face with a piece of paper first.
Yeah. Oh man.
Put it down your throat.
That's pure punk rock there, man, for sure. That's cool though. That's cool. It's funny to see the progression there. Like I said before, it's more raw. It's you almost seem angrier in those two
Yeah.
songs.
Totally.
And go
Like
go ahead, George. Sorry.
talking about progression, like for when we started playing Old Souls, like everything else after changed, and it was like that's what like some of my favorite songs came out once we played Old Souls, and that kind of became like our sound. And then I think from there we took that machine and made it to what it is today. Like for me, that was like kind of like the beginning of Lost in Transit.
I would agree with that. Once George came on board, I won't say that. I'm not saying it just because George is here, but it's the truth. Once George came in and the previous member phased out, I think we totally fell into where we were supposed to be. And I love like every single song that we've put out since then. I feel like that embodies who all three of us are together. You know, I don't think anybody plays anything that they don't like playing.
Yeah, like for me, that a lot of people may not know that we were actually under the Great Decay before. That was the band name. And then we were kind of around that time when we were pumping out these songs where we were like throwing out the idea like maybe if we wanted to change our name now, because we're kind of like a whole different identity in a way. So then that's when we Lost in Transit.
Yeah. I never like I in the early days I had kind of, before I was even in Disquiet, I'd seen Sam post about playing with the Great Decay, and then all of a sudden there's Lost in Transit, and it took me a while to figure out that you guys were the same person or the same people.
Yeah, that's the reason why. Yeah.
Cool, man, for sure. Yeah, I guess we kind of talked about a lot actually. So we got over a few beers. Yeah, thanks for coming on, guys. It was fun to get you three together because you definitely jumped off of each other a lot, and like obviously because you play together, but it's funny because I've had Todd, I've had George a few times, but getting you all three together and sharing the beer and the music, it worked really nicely. So thanks for coming on, guys.
Yeah.
And hey, Cal, could you get a screen cap of Dustin down there? He's, for our next album cover, he's got that quintessential, in a brick hallway.
Yeah, right. I was just, I was thinking, man, like when the songs were playing, I'm like, man, he's like giving us a music video right now. Like this could be a Lost in Transit music video.
There you go.
Him kicking the can down the hallway. Go. Oh man. Oh.
All we need is so if we could get a couple more shots of you on some railroad tracks and then in a cemetery and in that same pose, please.
Yeah, right. Oh man. I miss seeing you guys, dude. I miss playing with you guys. It's been too long.
Way too long.
Yeah, we had a good roll going on, and we had a good schedule.
Yeah.
Out, and then all this garbage hit.
Yeah, seriously.
One of my favorite shows like that stands out to me was one of the ones that we played with Disquiet and Starlight.
Oh my goodness, bro. That was our best show ever. Both of us. Yeah. It was so good. It's just so good.
And it was not for us, so to say, but all the people that were there. It was just like a fun night.
Yeah.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah. Definitely, man. Well, hopefully hopefully in the near future, we're looking at the light at the end of the tunnel and we can get back there and make new memories for sure. So
yeah,
absolutely.
But anyways, guys, we'll plug, if you guys want to see what Lost in Transit is up to, Obviously, like we just talked about, COVID has set everybody back. But when they are back in action, go follow them at Lost in Transit Band on Instagram. Pretty sure there's no like hash or underscores in there, is there? It's just Lost in
No.
Transit.
Yep.
Yeah.
You got
Just straight up Lost in Transit Band. And Rustic Brewing, go follow them on Instagram. Plug them before plug that. You guys, I got to post this on YouTube. If you guys are watching this, you understand. But Rustic Brewing. I almost said Rustic in Transit. I've had a couple brews. I should stop talking. Rustic Brewing. Go check out. They're brewing constantly. They got cans all the time. Gold Suds, go follow his awesome beer photography. Can't talk. As always, oh my gosh. As always, guys, this has been a Brews Roundtable podcast. We'll see you next time.